So into the arena steps Ulugbek SOBIROV, 26 years of age, from Andijan in Uzbekistan, nicknamed Braveheart. And when you see how this man fights, well, you will see that that is an appropriate ring moniker. Fantastic operator, 21 bouts in his professional career, 16 wins, 10 of them inside the distance, 5 losses. He was last in the ring as recently as last month.
Добро пожаловать в золотой угол ринга. Его соперник из Санкт-Петербурга, Россия. Приветствуйте, Эдгард MOSKVICHEV.
His opponent is Edgard MOSKVICHEV, 27 years of age, from Moldova, but lives in Russia, now operating under the Russian flag. He brings an outstanding 23-bout record to the ring, 19 wins, 7 of them inside the distance, 2 losses and 2 draws. He was last in the ring back in April and has garnered plenty of professional accolades in his career to date, including the Russian middleweight title back in 2021.
Представляю соперников, и первым боксера слева от меня в черном углу. Ему 26 лет, его рост 180 сантиметров, официальный вес 75,5 килограмма. Он чемпион Узбекистана, чемпион Азии среди любителей, с профессиональным рекордом, который состоит из 21 боя, 16 побед, 5 поражений, 10 ярких побед нокаутом. Из Андижана, Узбекистан, по прозвищу «Храброе сердце». Вот он, Ulugbek SOBIROV. Его сопернику в золотом углу 27 лет. Рост боксера 179 сантиметров, официальный вес 75,9 килограмма. Мастер спорта России с профессиональным рекордом 23 боя, 19 побед, 2 поражения при 2 ничьих, 7 побед нокаутом. Чемпион России среди профессионалов в среднем и суперсреднем весе, чемпион IBA.PRO в среднем весе из Санкт-Петербурга, Россия, Эдгард MOSKVICHEV. Рефери поединка Дмитрий Болдырев.
Господа боксеры, слушали команду внимательно, соблюдаем правила. По затылку бьем, ниже пояса бьем, по железу. Готовы? Готовы?
So a quick look at the tail of the tape ahead of this contest for the WBA Asia East title at 76.2 kilograms. So we're underway then. 10 3-minute rounds for this regional strap, the WBA Asia East title. Just 168 pounds is the division which we're in. If you convert the new money of 76.2 kilograms, it's 168 pounds. It's between 2 accomplished operators. The man wearing the black, who is digging away with the left hand, is no stranger to the IBA professional stage. That is Ulugbek SOBIROV. Terrific body puncher. 4-time national champion of Uzbekistan, was an Asian continental champion in the youth category back in 2016. The man I first saw at the 2016 World Youth Championships in St. Petersburg, losing in the 3rd preliminary round to the eventual gold medalist Sadruddin Akhmedov of Kazakhstan. Now he, of course, is an undefeated operator at super welterweight. And the man wearing the white trunks trimmed with gold, operating out of the southpaw stance, who's just been put on the end of a solid left jab, is Edgard MOSKVICHEV, from Moldova but resides in St. Petersburg, the former Russian middleweight champion. Has claimed regional titles before in the professional ranks. These titles important because it gets one prominence within the organization. So Sobirov.
Не держать, не держать. Брейк. Стоп. Брейк, шаг назад. Бокс.
Really does possess a wonderful array of punches. See him looking to utilize straight shots here now out of that half cover guard. Straightening out that left jab, but up close, he is a fantastic body puncher. Seems to slow his opponents down with rib-rattling hooks slung in and around the belt line. Looking to press his way forward out of that southpaw stance is MOSKVICHEV. Here's an example of the left hand to the body followed by a right hand upstairs, and it sent MOSKVICHEV to the canvas for an opening round knockdown. Back up on his feet, and I wonder how badly he was hurt by that body shot. You can see him taking in big lungfuls of oxygen. The bell has sounded. So dramatic conclusion to the opening round. Ulugbek SOBIROV finding the range. With a fantastic left hook to the body followed by a shot upstairs. MOSKVICHEV losing his balance and deposited on the floor in the opening round of this this WBA Asia East contest scheduled for 10. So a long way to go. We take a look at some of the action from the first.
Давление, не беги к нему близко, ты опять ногами семенишь на него. Куда ты бежишь? Бросаешь ногу, бьешь, вращаешь.
Another look at the knockdown set up by that body shot. There's the left hand to the body. And there's the left hook to the chin. Terrific two-shot combination from SOBIROV, scoring that knockdown in the closing stages of the opening round. So we move into round number 2. Has the 60-second interval been long enough for MOSKVICHEV to recover? As Ulugbek SOBIROV slowly sought to assert his dominance in the closing stages of that first round. You mentioned what an effective body puncher he is. And it was that shot which set up the left hook to the chin, which ultimately dropped MOSKVICHEV just before the 10-second clapper sounded in the closing stages of the first. So MOSKVICHEV fully aware of the power and precision that SOBIROV brings to the boxing ring. Body shots from MOSKVICHEV countered by a single left hook upstairs from SOBIROV. Mention the fact that SOBIROV is no stranger to operating on the IBA.PRO stage as MOSKVICHEV seeks to go downstairs once again. In April of 2024 in Ufa in Russia, he was the first man to take Pavel Sasulin, who features in one of our co-main events tonight, to take him the 8-round distance for the first time on the IBA stage. Interestingly, that bout not on the record of either man. But I can tell you it happened because I was commentating on it in Ufa. And even though it was a wide margin of victory on the scorecards, Sasulin knew he was in a hard-fought affair that night because SOBIROV, as he's demonstrating here, only takes a backward step on his own terms. He's very difficult to discourage and force backwards. There was a nice southpaw right on the counter, but then look at the response on the inside by the sharp-shooting left from SOBIROV. Up on his toes, just moving clockwise to his left, away from that southpaw backhand of MOSKVICHEV. He seeks to get on the front foot once more. Inaccurate with the southpaw left after he was reaching for the range with the southpaw right. MOSKVICHEV. Sharp 1-2 combination attempted by Sobirov. The right jab, sorry, the right cross was off the mark. So MOSKVICHEV recovering well from the knockdown that he endured in the first. Some of the action from the second round. Beautiful lead left hand in between the defenses of MOSKVICHEV from Sobirov. And MOSKVICHEV responding with a good jab of his own out of that southpaw stance. And perhaps his best shot of the entire contest. That reverse 1-2, seeing the right hand land on the chin of Sobirov.
Третий раунд.
Бокс.
So we move into the third round. Sobirov, who spent part of the early stages of his professional career because he made his debut after those youth successes back in 2016. Made his debut just 2 years later, back in January of 2018. Spent the early part of his career training out in Malaysia. But was touted as one of the best prospects in the world, having turned over so young. And he's still continuing to make good progress in the professional ranks. Here he is on the IBA stage, where we've seen him before. Giving a good account of himself here in the face of this pressure that MOSKVICHEV is seeking to implement. Contrasting approaches being taken to their craft. There was a stiff left jab followed by an attempted right uppercut from Sobirov. So MOSKVICHEV seeks to get onto the front foot, throwing punches in flurries. Not getting much power or pop or leverage onto his shots. Very much arm punches, but they're landing with enough force when they do land to be registered as scoring punches. So he's electing to operate on the canvas of the boxing ring in running shoes. Lime green soled low tops. You see how thick the sole is. I often wonder when you see boxers choose to operate in shoes that have such an apparently thick outer sole, to what extent can they feel the canvas? I often see coaches telling their boxers to imagine they're stubbing out a cigarette, particularly when launching. Oh, that's a beautiful left jab once again from Sobirov. When they're pushing off the back foot for that backhand cross, get that twist, and equally on the follow-up hook, how well can you feel the canvas beneath your toes and the ball of your foot if you've got effectively a wedge in between the sole of the foot and the canvas in thick-soled shoes such as the ones that MOSKVICHEV is wearing. But to each his own.
Stop.
If he feels comfortable, and no one is going to alter it. Oh, that's a cracking left hook fired out by Sobirov once again. Speaking of running shoes, I remember that David Hay on a stormy night at the Ballet ground in East London at West Ham's Upton Park when he fought Derek Chisora. He elected to wear low-cut running shoes on that night, scoring that knockout against the man who's approaching his 50th and final fight sometime before the year is out, Derek War Chisora. For the third round in the books, this man always seeking to press, not necessarily getting much pop onto his punches, but plenty of pressure being applied He's been met by deterring lead left hand such as that. Hooks on that occasion, also in the form of a stiff jab. There was a cracking left hook launched and landed in the closing stages of the round by Sobirov once again.
Нормально все. В конце голову забирать, пропускают всегда. Складывайся, голову забирать.
Четвертый раунд.
Бокс!
So into the fourth round then. Moskvichov was last in the ring in April of this year, getting back to winning ways after being outpointed for a super middleweight strap of the regional variety. Prior to that reversal, Moskvichov had rattled off a whole host of victories in a row. Remember, just 2 losses on his professional record. And again, winning is such a good habit to cultivate. The third outing of the year for Sobirov. So no danger of ring rust adversely affecting either man. Big swing and a miss with the right hand, but followed up with a good left hook to the body did Sobirov. Countering with a right hook downstairs of his own was Moskvichov. Chopping right hand fired down on a steep trajectory, but then cluster of punches are the final word in that exchange from Moskvichov.
Наступай на ногу.
So punches coming in rather roundhouse fashion from Moskvichov. That could present an opportunity for Sobirov to shoot straight down the middle. Again, look at these roundhouse blows that are being fired in, coming on a swooping arc. I'm sure that Sobirov will have recognized that, but Moskvichov keeps on coming, seeking to take it to Sobirov. Reaching for the left hand to the body and scoring with it. Altogether tighter right uppercut comes in from the orthodox boxer Sobirov.
Держи, держи. 5.
Stiff left jab, countering the attempted 2-shot salvo that Moskvichov fired out. And again, all of these cutting roundhouse punches from Moskvichov. There's a single right hand which got to the target far quicker than the circuitous route that his shots are taking to reach their target. Middle straight to left hand out of the southpaw stance, and he kept the attack going. Big Moskvichov. And showing terrific punch output in this contest, and it was a big intake of breath on the bell from Ulugbek SOBIROV. Just wondering whether he's beginning to feel the pace in his efforts to keep this incessant punching boxer away from him. Because again, I think this man's punches are of greater quality, crispness, sharpness, dare I say power as well, but the clusters that are continually being slung out by Moskvichov cannot be overlooked. Prime example as to how he lets his hands go non-stop. Little bent arm cuffs, and even if he takes one in between his successes, he'll continue the attack in a bid to have the first and final word.
Бокс!
So into round 5. Reverse 1-2 attempted by Sobirov. Right cross followed by a left jab. Again, for the winner, for this regional title. Remember, it's a WBA Asia East title that is on the line. The winner will have an opportunity to put themselves in the picture for a shot at the WBA Asia title. And then when you start getting into continental crowns such as that, it gets you a lofty ranking with the organization. And that is the value of these trinkets, in addition, of course, to the boxers themselves, knowing that they have earned a title. And when boxers earn titles, when athletes achieve successes, it strengthens the belief that everything that has been done in preparation, everything that has been done in practice is worthwhile, because it's all very well hearing, yeah, you're nice, yeah, you've got the ability to become a champ, you've got the ability to go on and really make a name for yourself in this game, but the title is empirical proof that you can carry out the lofty predictions that many observers may have for a young prospect. So again, MOSKVICHEV continuing to let clusters go in the face of the stiff, authoritative left jab that Sobirov has been able to demonstrate on occasion in this round. And again, the crowd dialing up the decibel level here as the two men seeking to let their hands go in the space of center ring. Beautiful left jab while spinning off the line to his left, and then another left jab from Sobirov. There's a cut to Sobirov's left eye, I believe. If it's not to the left eye, it's putting blood around his left eye. That'll provide encouragement for MOSKVICHEV. IBA Champions Night outing in Ufa of April 2024. He suffered nose damage, reducing his face to a crimson mask by the end of the contest, but again, he was there competing all the way against Pavel Sassoulin. Hard right hand dug in twice in quick succession, followed by a left jab and right hand, but again, MOSKVICHEV seeking to fire right back. These types of men can be incredibly dispiriting to fight. For what it's worth, I happen to think that Sobirov is doing enough to be ahead here, but MOSKVICHEV is always answering, making them exchanges, making it competitive. You see evidence of the injuries that he has sustained during the course of this contest. Lovely use of the lead left hand once again from Sobirov. And it's the quality that he's able to put together on combinations such as that left-right and then the double left hand in the form of a jab, then uppercut. It's this quality for me which is a key component of what I feel is a lead, but it's the manner in which MOSKVICHEV keeps on coming, feet get in a tangle, but he never stops seeking to apply pressure in a bid to keep himself in contention.
Time. Побыстрее. Тайминг. Бокс.
So into the second half of the contest we go. 5 rounds completed, a potential 5 rounds remain. In the defeats that these men have suffered in the professional ranks, they have always heard the final bell.
Не толкаем, не дави.
Бокс.
Lead right hand attempted by Sobirov wasn't too far away. Looking for that same shot repeatedly, and then the cuffing clusters as the counter response from MOSKVICHEV.
По спине не бей.
Each man continuing to show that they are composed under fire there in the boxing ring. Beautiful straight left to the body from MOSKVICHEV. When he throws singles, he punches pretty correctly in the form of a southpaw right jab and sharp left cross with a wonderful left jab before spinning off the line from Sobirov. But it's when he puts combinations together, the arms are bent, doesn't really get much leverage from the hips and just cuffs his man. He's slapping shots, reluctant to call them arm punches, but it's almost like he's an action figure that you twist at the waist, and just like that, the shots come out behind the bent arm. They don't really have much fluidity or seemingly pop on them, but he lands plenty of them. There's another left jab. He's thrusted home by Sobirov. Lead left hand with the first shot of that attempted exchange again from Sobirov, and look at MOSKVICHEV keep the attack going. Good use of the right glove to fend off the incoming left hook from MOSKVICHEV. That left eye just continuing to leak a little more profusely now. So Sobirov deep into this sixth round. Again, I think his work has the greater quality, but there perhaps is an ever-encroaching danger that MOSKVICHEV sheer volume might see him nick a couple of these rounds where his work has been of the superior quality, but the volume from MOSKVICHEV could nick it. Now, to his credit, Sobirov upping the punch output in the closing stages of that sixth round.
Осторожней головой, хорошо? Смотри, я вижу. Который раз? Я вижу.
Дайте воды, пацаны, льда! Бандаж оттяните.
Some of the action from round number 6.
Осторожней головой.
ikki-uch uryapti, qo'l tushyapti. Sizni katta o'ynaydi. Tushundingmi? Keberyapti.
Время теперь дать. Хоп. Давай, отлично. Побыстрей.
Седьмой раунд. Самара, ваша поддержка.
So we move into round number 7.
Уберите бутылку с ринга убери.
Бокс.
There's MOSKVICHEV seeking to get over that front foot once again and continuing to let combinations go. Sobirov stepping into that right uppercut. High-held gloves proving an effective line of defense for Sobirov. Fend off that incoming southpaw left from MOSKVICHEV. Cracking right hand landed out of the southpaw stance. It was the final shot of a reverse 1-2 from MOSKVICHEV. Reverse 1-2 from Sobirov was a right cross followed by a left uppercut. Big swing and a miss with the right hand from MOSKVICHEV. Remember, MOSKVICHEV was knocked down in the opening round for double left hand, hook to the body, then hook to the head in the closing seconds of the stanza. But he's battled back considerably and indeed consistently since then. There's a right hand which gets the attention of Sobirov. And Sobirov, again, just got to watch that his punch output doesn't fall to a level that could see MOSKVICHEV with these clusters, seeking to have the final word. The accuracy is not necessarily there, but he's giving the impression of somebody trying to make the fight by getting on the front foot and taking it to his man. And these cameos of quality from Sobirov, such as that left jab, well, he's going to have to remain consistent with them just to show the judges that he possesses greater ring craft and greater quality. There he turns a right uppercut underneath to the body, but finds MOSKVICHEV on his chest once again. There's a wonderful two-shot combination, followed by a right-hand lead, but then that single shot from Moskvichov sends Sobirov tottering backwards out of that clumping southpaw left. And Sobirov, let's keep an eye on him in the closing stages of this round, because he appears to be feeling the efforts of his exertions here as another southpaw left crashes home. Moskvichov simply will not give him any respite. Right hand upstairs, followed the attempted left hand to the body from Moskvichov, but a wonderful straight right hand right down the pipe from Sobirov. Is a quality shot once again. Terrific round of boxing in that 7th frame. And it's a rather slow walk back to the black corner for Ulugbek SOBIROV. Some of the action from the 7th round. Pockets of quality produced from Sobirov, but then volume from Moskvichov, who just was always seeking to apply front foot pressure, back up the man from Uzbekistan. When he got into close range, well, he did some damage with his flurries of punches. So we move into round number 8. Sharp shooting right cross followed by a left jab from Ulugbek SOBIROV. And there we see the quality left hook that was the foundation of that combination in the first round that sent Moskvichov to the canvas. And now Sobirov seeking to make a concerted effort to not be driven backwards by these flurries that are being fired out by Moskvichov. Oh, good work to the body in the first straight left downstairs, visibly doubled over Sobirov. So after a brisk start to the round, Moskvichov grinding his way back into it. There's the characteristic volume punching once again, coming from both flanks. Again, right, left out of the southpaw stance, just snap the head back of Sobirov. As is often the case in his bouts, he's marking up, suggesting that Moskvichov is as fresh as a daisy, but far less damage, because remember, he too sustained a cut left eye in the middle rounds of this contest. When I say eye, it was above the eyebrow. And the corner have done a good job stemming the flow of blood. That was a rather languid roundhouse right with the left hook. Left uppercut turned underneath was altogether sharper, as was that overhand right from Sobirov. And again, when he lets his shots go, the quality is apparent, but then look at that volley of punches in return from Moskvichov. Not particularly accurate, but a couple of shots in the cluster are getting through, and that's what he's demonstrating here again, by the sheer law of averages, just throwing fistfuls of leather at the man from Uzbekistan. And some of them are getting through. Big swing and a miss with his attempted two-shot combination, but once more he keeps the attack going. Sobirov cutting a rather fatigued figure here now, trying to get some dynamism in his legs by getting up on his toes and shaking out those arms as well. Bring some fluidity back to his boxing. Moskvichov, my goodness. Continuing to let punches in bunches go. And the two men just looking into the eyes of one another at the conclusion of that 8th round, perhaps to try and get a sense as to how the other man is feeling. Surely both of them must be feeling the pace here now, but for my money, this man is showing it more. Moskvichov masking his fatigue more effectively than Ulugbek SOBIROV. Take a look at some of the action from the 8th round. Southpaw left, landed by MOSKVICHEV, countered immediately by a left hook, almost simultaneously from SOBIROV. A nod of respect from SOBIROV, who was backed up by that success from MOSKVICHEV.
Капа. Окей.
9-й раунд.
Бокс. Стоп.
So we just took a look at the beautiful strap that is up for grabs, the WBA Asia East title.
Бокс.
Is the strap that is on the line. It's been a hard-fought affair so far. Oh, the cracking left hook landed by SOBIROV, and just as he started round number 8, he's looking brisk and crisp and sharp as he lands with a right-hand lead, but he wasn't able to sustain this type of quality throughout round number 8. And again, the conditioning and combination punching of MOSKVICHEV allowed him to grind his way back into contention. Remember, this contest made at 168 pounds, 76.2 kilograms. Just over a minute gone, it's MOSKVICHEV to walk his man down once again. SOBIROV up on his toes, trying to give the impression that he's still filled with energy and fighting spirit. But MOSKVICHEV not paying any attention to the body language signals coming from SOBIROV and just walking him down incessantly, looking to maintain the gap with his footwork is SOBIROV. I think it was SOBIROV who was keen to initiate that clinch. On the resumption, scores with a good thrusting right cross to the body, followed by a right hand upstairs. Accuracy on those punches picked from the backhand. But again, look at where he finds himself, standing completely square on the ropes, presenting a full-size target and inviting pressure. Did keep his wits about him to bob and weave away from the incoming fire from MOSKVICHEV. MOSKVICHEV, you see a little bit of showboating from SOBIROV, just trying to get inside the mind of MOSKVICHEV, but look at that, he's not paying any mind to it whatsoever, keeping his attacks going and just letting leather land where it may. Shades of Billy Joe Saunders against David Lemieux in the effort that SOBIROV attempted to look out of the ring in search of the shot that was hurled in his direction. But don't worry, because another one will be coming, another one will be on its way in pretty short order. That you can almost guarantee. But Edgard MOSKVICHEV from Moldova resides in St. Petersburg in Russia, and indeed was a former Russian national champion at middleweight. Has demonstrated that he will throw punches all night long. And at round 9, almost a carbon copy of round number 8, because it was a brisk start to the stanza by Ulugbek SOBIROV. But then this man simply would not give him any room to breathe. Consistently pursuing him, letting clusters of punches go, some of which did get through. But again, there's the quality on that counter right hand from SOBIROV. Here's the volume from MOSKVICHEV. You see the head of SOBIROV touched backwards on a couple of occasions because of the sheer volume of punches that have been fired in his direction.
Побыстрей, побыстрей, побыстрей. Побыстрей.
Финальный 10-й раунд и ваша поддержка Самара.
So as the bell sounds to begin the 10th and final round, generous applause from the crowd on hand here at the Samara Academic Opera and Ballet House.
Команду слушай. Команду слушай. Стоп, команда.
Once again, it's a brisk start from Ulugbek SOBIROV from Uzbekistan, wearing the black trunks trimmed with gold, but immediately in his face once again, a landing with a cuffing southpaw right is Edgard MOSKVICHEV, able to dance his way out of the corner and uncoil a crisp 1-2 combination is SOBIROV. Will he be able to sustain this beyond the minute 30 mark of this 10th and final round? Because you can almost bet your bottom dollar that MOSKVICHEV will be able to maintain this type of tempo that he has set from the opening bell. He was floored in the first round, but thereafter he has always been the boxer taking it to his opponent, looking to get over the front foot, back him into a corner and just cuff him with clusters of punches that often must make SOBIROV feel as though he's boxing in a blizzard, because he is managing to evade and weave away from lots of them. But there's just another one en route behind it, as evidenced by that cluster there. Not much pop, not much leverage, perhaps not proper technique being exhibited by MOSKVICHEV, but he is throwing and landing an awful lot of leather beyond the halfway stage of this 10th and final round. Biting down and seeking to drive his opponent backwards is SOBIROV, but then MOSKVICHEV answering and refusing to take a backward step of his own volition, willing his way forward, seeking to walk his man down and push him back. Terrific exchange near the ropes. MOSKVICHEV so committed to his attack that when SOBIROV was able to spin off the ropes, he found himself with his head in between the strands. Blasting away to the body before bringing his attack upstairs was MOSKVICHEV. He was picked off by a single right, and then a looping left hook dips the knees of MOSKVICHEV, but he bites down and steps right back into the fray. But how badly hurt was he by that shot? There's SOBIROV looking for the same Howitzer of a left hook once again. Follows up with a right cross, and now the chin of MOSKVICHEV being thoroughly checked. My goodness, this is one well-conditioned boxer. Teak tough, absorbing some heavy, accurate hooks in the final round and firing back with straight punches that knock the head back of SOBIROV. 10-second clapper, barely audible here at the Samara Academic Opera and Ballet House. The final bell sounds, and that final rally from Ulugbek SOBIROV, for what it's worth, should surely be enough to provide the insurance and give him the victory against the ever-pressing Edgard MOSKVICHEV, the man from Moldova who resides in St. Petersburg. These two men combining to produce a really competitive contest. And it might be rather simplistic, but for my money, the quality, the greater ring generalship, the superior punch picking came from SOBIROV, but the volume in a manner such as this came from MOSKVICHEV. He simply did not stop throwing punches, and it was during the course of one of his unrelenting attacks that he had his knees dipped in the final round by a sumptuous left hook. That is what the champion will receive here, or the man that's about to be crowned the Asia East champion will receive. For what it's worth, I happen to think that it's Ulugbek SOBIROV, the man in the black corner, who has done enough to prevail here tonight. But how will the three scoring judges see it? And again, it was a really intriguing affair. This man on the floor in the opening round had his chin checked and knees dipped in round number 10. But his punch output, his sheer volume, is that enough to get the better of the quality that we saw from Ulugbek SOBIROV. Superior punch picking from my vantage point, sharper jabs, rapier-like right crosses. I think the man in black has done enough, but what say the three scoring judges? Here is Alexander Sadokov with the verdict.
Дамы и господа, По окончании плотнейших 10 раундов бокса обратимся к судейским запискам. Судья 1 96-93. Судья 2 95-94. Судья 3 97-92. Таким образом, единогласным решением судей победу по очкам одержал и стал чемпионом WBA Asia East во втором среднем весе боксер из черного угла Ulugbek SOBIROV.
Look at what the announcement of victory means for Ulugbek SOBIROV. My goodness, he was forced to dig deep during the course of that contest, but he has been declared a unanimous point decision victor over the incredibly game, competitive and supremely well-conditioned Edgard MOSKVICHEV of St. Petersburg. Ulugbek SOBIROV, his quality ultimately perhaps a key factor in what has been declared a unanimous point decision victory here for him tonight. And upon the announcement, it was an outburst of emotion for Ulugbek SOBIROV because he was made to dig deep to earn that victory. And in doing so, as we take another look at some of the highlights from the contest, including that first round knockdown, courtesy of that double hook, body then head. But thereafter, from rounds 2 through 9, MOSKVICHEV was always in the face of Ulugbek SOBIROV, backing him up with combinations like that, cuffing him with clusters around his ribcage and checking his chin as well, not with the accuracy necessarily, but the sheer volume, not with the power necessarily, but the sheer volume of punches. And his accuracy probably wasn't that high, but so much leather was being slung in the direction of SOBIROV that almost the law of averages saw some of the shots get through. But then in the 10th round, wonderful left hook dipped the knees of MOSKVICHEV. He showed his conditioning once again as he was able to fight through the discombobulation. There was the moment of victory, confirmed by